Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre from TeddyBaldassarre.com. Today we're looking at a retro style dive watch from Bulova with the Bulova Devil Diver. So in this video, we will review this timepiece. In the description will be a place to purchase this watch as well as get more information on the product page at TeddyBaldassarre.com. Then at the end, just some things to consider, wrap up, who is this watch for, who is it not for, or what should at least be on your radar. So guys, let's jump into this video and take a closer look at this watch. Now first, again, a rundown of the specs of this Devil Diver here. We have a case size of 44 millimeters, thickness of 14.5 millimeters, lug to lug of 46 millimeters, water resistance of 200 meters, movement is an automatic Miyota 821D, crystal is sapphire, and price $636, but if you do use promo code Devil Diver at checkout, you can get a free strap up to $50 with your purchase. Just add the strap to your cart on TeddyBaldassarre.com and you'll be good to go. TeddyBaldassarre.com, full authorized dealer of all Bulova watches. We have a variety of different colors to choose with this Devil Diver. Quick fulfillment. We also offer price match. So if you see one of our watches for a lower price at another authorized dealer, fill out the form on the product page and we'll give you a call. And 9 out of every $10 that we generate from our store goes right back into the content that we're creating. Now in this sub $1,000 range for dive watches, there is certainly a surplus at your disposal as a consumer that you can go towards. The retro style dive watch I find as being something a bit more, I would say, upmarket, and generally speaking, I think the micro brands have very much filled the void. But if we're looking at classic brands that have been producing designs of this style, Bulova is certainly in the conversation. And the model that we have here today is a retro style design, really pulling from some 1970s case styling with this cushion style case and really filling the format there with its polished overall architecture. So the model that we're going to be looking at here is this green dial variant of the Devil Diver. There are many different options to choose from in terms of color, but really catering to that throwback style that many dive watches would be really thrown out in the, say, 1970s and that era of cushion style designs. Now, like you might find with other dive watches on the market, the case diameter does not tell the full story here. So we're looking at 44 millimeters in terms of that case diameter, but is going to be combined with that 46 millimeter lug to lug distance, which is very compact for a watch of this diameter, a very obscure type of dimensions that we're going to be seeing from top to bottom for a diameter of that size. And then for thickness, 14.5 millimeters. This all comes together to have a rather thicker watch, sure, and also extending out farther across the wrist thanks to the more cushion style that we're going to see here with that kind of slabbed off, polished off, angled ends on both the crown side as well as the 9 o'clock side of the case. But in general, I would say for many wrists out there, this is going to be more than wearable. And my 6¼ inch wrist, just south of 16 centimeters, I have no problem pulling this one off. It does have a bit more of a funky type of just wear on the wrist, but I think that is kind of what you're expecting when you look at a watch with this style at the end of the day. The case, again, is coming in a consistent high polish throughout. Looking down at the bracelet here, it's kind of a tale of two stories. First, 20 millimeter lug width, which is going to offer a lot of variety if you wanted to put this on a NATO strap, which I would definitely recommend. I think it would look very sharp, especially given the many dial options that you have at your disposal here. It is also going to wear pretty true to that 46 millimeter lug to lug distance, given the fact that the actual bracelet links are going to drop straight down, really allowing it to form to the wrist quite well. So very true to the actuals there. The outside links are going to be brushed and the center link is going to be polished, and then coming together at the underside at a fold over locking clasp with also a 2-button release. This is going to help with some extra security here, but another topic when looking at the clasp is it is stamped on the inside, double stamped as well as stamped on the diver extension, which can help with sizing up quickly without any need for tools. And then also does feature 3 points of micro adjustment that you can use with a spring bar tool. Also have those available on our site as well. But stamp clasp, that's going to be a little bit of a downside. It's kind of interesting though too, because otherwise, the bracelet links are actually quite substantial. They're well done. I would say it's better than many Seiko counterparts in terms of bracelets, which is not necessarily saying much there, but certainly a big step up compared to some of the competition in this range from the bracelet links, but the clasp does leave a few things to be desired. Moving back to the central case construction, at the 3 o'clock, we have a screw-down crown here that will operate in traditional fashion from there. Once unscrewed, hand winding at the first position. At the second position, you can change the date, and the farthest out point, you can change the time. But there is no hacking on this movement. We'll talk a little bit about the Miyota movement inside of here in a bit. Bulova is owned by the Citizen Watch Group, which also owns Miyota, hence why they are usually going to be using Miyota movements inside. Now, where this watch is really setting the tone is in the design department. So along the outside, we have the inclusion of a unidirectional bicolor bezel bezel, 120 click that is snappy and audible with its response and quite solid, also featuring lume on that bezel as well. Across the dial, casting across, we have a sapphire crystal, and one other important point about the sapphire crystal is the magnifier at the 3. So it is a partial magnification of that date window that it is resting above. But if you look at this watch actually from the side, you can notice that magnifier is actually set within the crystal. So it's not going to add any additional thickness and is hidden from view, which I think is a very sleek approach to executing that magnification. Looking closer at the dial, this one is coming in a lighter green surface, more of a matte finish as well. And at the center have a traditional style handset of a pencil style, more baton, blunted type of overall approach that works really well with the design. Now it's going to feature lume within all of the hands, as well as the pointed lollipop weighted second hand that's going to cast across the minute track that is pressed inward quite a bit as a result of those highly raised hour markers along the outside, which are going to contain luminescent material and shine with decent incandescence. I wouldn't say it's quite on par with the likes of a Seiko or a Citizen, but is going to be adequate for darker environments. At the 12 o'clock, the applied Bulova logo, and at the 6, the rating of 666 feet, which is basically going to be another cue into this Devil Diver range, and then crosshairs across the dial, which is very retro in itself. Now flipping the watch over, we have a basic screw-down case back that is closed, which is going to house the Miyota 821D within. So as mentioned previously, Miyota being a movement manufacturer that falls underneath the Citizen Watch Group umbrella that also houses Bulova is basically the connection here. So very traditional, reliable movement within this watch, but definitely seen in a variety of different price ranges in terms of where it's going to occupy. It's a 3 hertz movement, so 21,600 vibrations per hour. It has a 42-hour power reserve, and probably the most notable feature on this one, at least in this case, I would say, is it does not feature hacking. And I think, and depending on where you fall on the aisle of whether or not that's important to you or not important to you, regardless, it's still an important point to make here when looking at a watch in this price range. But with Miyota, you're definitely looking for reliability, time-tested movements, which this one certainly is. So you kind of know what you're getting here, but certainly more of an entry-level option from the Miyota family of calibers. Okay, so now just to unpack just some things to consider. Who is this watch for? Who is it not for? Maybe some things to consider. First off, if you are not somebody that's into vintage-looking dive watches, I think you, of course, look away from this one. For somebody that's going to look towards the direction of this piece, and I think the number one point in why somebody would look in this way is just the fact that this is a distinctive design. It's true to the Bulova archive. It has a cushion-style case, which you do see time and time again, but I think it's predominantly brought out in the mass market by vintage timepieces that just kind of flood into the market. Maybe you're looking on eBay, but if you wanted it in a newer package, that really is the calling card of this watch, and I think the designs, the color profiles, definitely a winning formula. The other things to consider here is that stamp clasp. Is that going to be a deal breaker? The bracelet is actually pretty good. I think the clasp just falls a little bit behind compared to the rest of the architecture of the bracelet. Wearability, I think, despite 44 millimeters in terms of the case size, can work on a variety of different wrists, very similar to, say, the Seiko Turtles as well as the Samurais, even more compact than that when looking at the lug-to-lug distance. But the last point probably is going to be the movement here. I think a Miyota 8215 in a watch above $500 is starting to get up there a bit. So that's another thing to consider, but it all kind of really matters on what you're going for. I do think this is a different design compared to what you're going to find from the likes of a Seiko in the modern package, as well as many Citizen watches out there from a modern perspective. So if you are looking in the direction of a cool retro style diver, the Bulova Devil Diver needs to be on the list. All right, guys, well, thank you again so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Also, if you are in the market for this watch, want some more information, link in the description for teddybaldassarre.com. We are a full authorized dealer for all the brands that we carry, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer service, full factory warranty, so if something goes wrong in that warranty window, you're completely covered, unlike a lot of other sellers online, and you're not having to pay the bill. In addition, we also offer price match, so if you see one of our watches at another authorized dealer for cheaper, fill out the form on the product page, and then we'll give you a call. And finally, 9 out of every $10 that we generate from our store goes right back into the content we're creating, trying to foster up a new generation of watch enthusiasts all across the globe. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.